start practice each and every day with the bags and the energy level, and what that's doing is really setting the tone for us competing. That's the main message of our program, is compete every day. But I think when you're doing it with the right attitude, with the right energy that's contagious, you're making sure that guy is not just checking the box, and he's actually pushing the limits and holding himself accountable to get better, 1% each day.
The Dallas Cowboys presentation of Countdown to Kickoff, presented by AT&T, is sponsored by Bank of America. What would you like the power to do? Reliant, official energy provider of the Dallas Cowboys. Sleep Number, the official sleep and wellness partner of the Dallas Cowboys. Yeti, officially licensed Yeti cowboy gear, is now available at Stadium Pro Shops, concessions, and on Yeti.com. And by AT&T, the official sponsor of the Dallas Cowboys.
Inglewood, California, in the shadow of the Hollywood sign. Today, the Dallas Cowboys begin their 2025 journey, one to be filled with star power and new beginnings, just like the city they'll play in this afternoon. Welcome to the preseason in SoFi Stadium. It's the Dallas Cowboys and the Los Angeles Rams, and this is Countdown to Kickoff. Alongside Mickey Spagnola on the sidelines in SoFi Stadium, I'm Kyle Yeomans, and we're pleased to be joined right off the top of the show with head coach Brian Schottenheimer making his head coaching debut in the NFL today. It's a big day for a lot of reasons, but what are you feeling at this point in time?
Oh, I'm really excited. I'm excited to see our guys go out and compete. Definitely a little bit of butterflies, that's real. But at the end of the day, we've put a lot of work into this, and excited about the step.
Brian, we've gotten to watch Joe Milton for 3 weeks. You've got to watch him for 3 weeks. What are you hoping to see from him tonight, getting an opportunity to play in an NFL game? This is no longer a scrimmage.
Yeah, I would think the consistency of leading the team, of driving, we call it driving the car. You're leading these other 10 guys. You're trying to go and put the ball, move the ball down the field, put it in the end zone. I think the consistency, he's going to make some mistakes like we all will. I will. First-time head coach, but just the consistency of Joe. I mean, he's had a really good camp, and I'm excited to watch him play because he plays the game the right way.
So one of the things that you talked about after the scrimmage is you wanted to see your team be more physical. Is that what you're hoping to see tonight, the difference between the scrimmage on Tuesday with the Rams and now in this preseason game?
Yeah, I think so, Mickey. But I think at the end of the day, there's different ways of being physical. I think, we want to see Joe play a little bit. And what's that mean? It means we're going to sling it around a little bit. We definitely want to play physical. We had a great practice 2 days ago, very, very physical practice where the guys got after each other pretty good. And that's going to be a huge part of what we do. But we're going to mix it up a little bit tonight and just try to evaluate our players.
We heard a clip from Dak Prescott at the top of this broadcast talking about that competition and competing every day at training camp. It's easy to get up for a game situation like this, but leading into this, how do you feel like the guys have responded throughout the offseason and then training camp about that message you're trying to send?
They bought in, and, they didn't need to buy in per se, but we don't give them many choices, right? We're always competing, whether it's ping pong, whether it's putt-putt, whether it's basketball, whether it's practice. In the meetings we compete, and so it truly is the central theme of the program. And you can't play this game at a high level if you're not a competitor, because it's a tough game for tough people. And it's been fun for me to watch these guys really buy in, and we'll have some guys competing their tails off tonight.
And, of course, that competition does go onto the field as well. Plenty of position battles that you as a coaching staff are going to sort through as these next 3 weeks roll on. How valuable are these games to get a real game look on a lot of these guys as they try and make the roster?
Well, they're invaluable, and they're invaluable for different things. On the defensive side of the ball, we actually see who can tackle. The ability to tackle. We don't tackle in practice. We thud even when we're in pads, and I think that's really important. Who can really rush the quarterback and finish. We in practice have on red jerseys, and there's a halo around the quarterback that you can't get too close to. And then offensively, of course, it's who can break tackles. And I'm excited to see some of the running backs go out there today and see them run through arm tackles, see the receivers block. And again, we talked about earlier, I do want us to play and expect that we will play very physical, but that doesn't matter whether we run it, throw it. We want to be physical in all phases.
One of the younger groups on your team is the offensive line, especially your depth, and it looks like, from what I've been told, you're going to play a lot of young guys today on that offensive line. What do you want to get out of those guys?
Yeah, same thing. I want to see them come off and play physical. I want to see if they can run block and work their combinations. You know, the offensive line's so unique because literally it's a symphony. I mean, you've got guys having to work together, and it's almost like coordinated, just dancing because like they're working together. And these guys that we play today, the Rams do a great job trying to take you off your combination blocks by firing linebackers. So one thing from the scrimmage that we want to get better at is playing with our eyes up front because they shot some gaps and kind of had free hats in the hole. And I think we have that corrected, but we'll find out here in an hour or so.
How much are these live reps going to influence you as a coaching staff and a play caller as well? I mean, both you and Matt Eberflus with this specific group, this is your first time as a play caller.
Yeah, I mean, I know the way I call a game is I kind of look in the huddle and see who's in there. And so you want to try to get certain guys the ball. And when you call a run, for example, if it goes for 4, 5, 6 yards, you're pretty quick to come back with another run. And there's ways we want to attack after we hit explosive plays. I think I've been very clear. We're not showing many things. Why is that? Because we want to evaluate the talent, and we want to make the right decision when it comes to the 53-man roster and then beyond with the practice squad. We're not trying to beat, Coach McVay and his team with scheme. We're trying to beat them with execution.
Well, Coach, congratulations to get to this point. It's been a long summer. I know you've been waiting for this opportunity. Excited to see you get out there with the guys and actually put some scores, or put something on the scoreboard across the board. Excited to have you.
Well, that's what we expect to do. Appreciate you guys. Always enjoy visiting with you guys, and should be a great day and a great preseason for the Cowboys.
Absolutely. Head coach Brian Schottenheimer joining us on Countdown to Kickoff. We'll have some other guests as the hour goes on, including Cowboys GM Jerry Jones coming up in just a little bit. Download the Cowboys Now app on your connected TV device and catch on all of your favorite Dallas Cowboys podcasts all season long. The season starts today. You can keep up to date on the Cowboys Now app. You got Make Shots as a podcast with Mickey Spagnola. You have Talking Cowboys with myself. And then we're now joined by the star of Cowboys Storyline. That's Nick Eatman from DallasCowboys.com at the end here. Nick, one of the big storylines throughout training camp has, unfortunately for the Cowboys, been one that's off the field. It's been the Micah Parsons contract saga, still holding in at the moment. He is in the building today, which is significant to talk about. But we've been here before. This isn't the first time the Cowboys fans have had a contract dispute spill into the preseason.
Yeah, it's certainly not a fun situation. We saw it last year with CD, and the process isn't really fun, but if there's anybody that knows how tough it is not to be practicing with your teammates, it's CD Lamb.
Like, it's terrible, to be honest. But as for Micah, his is to dominate one player that's in front of him. So I feel like for him, it's just like whenever you let them shackles loose on him, he's going to be literally an uncaged tiger, or lion, essentially. So for him, just keep his head on right, stay positive throughout this whole thing. We know it's going to get figured out. And when it does, we're going to act like none of this happened. I'm going to ask him for $100,000. And he can't tell me no because he has it. See, now you being nosy. That's my money.
If he wants to pass around $100,000, I think we'll all take a little bit. And I think we found out it's a little bit more than that type of money. We're talking about a significant amount. But I think that the point that I would make to this is that, Band-Aids can be very expensive, but I think money can cure a lot of things if that happens. And we don't talk about CD Lamb right now. He's having a great camp. He had a great season. So hopefully the same thing will happen with Micah.
Well, and it might be a different scenario, too. As he's talking about there, he doesn't have the connection with a quarterback and the timing to piece through. With Micah Parsons, Mickey, correct me if I'm wrong, it's see ball, get to the quarterback.
Yeah, but he's got to be in shape.
Right.
Yeah. And the conditioning, I've seen him before the practices, working out on his conditioning with the trainers, the strength and conditioning guys. But again, how long is that going to take once this gets settled? And I'm sure it's going to get settled at some point before the season starts because nobody leaves money on the table when the season starts.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. If he's not getting fined for practices, he's not thinking about getting, missing game checks as well. But, when you look at cornerback, there's a lot of depth issues there. When you look at defensive tackle, there's some issues there. boy, one position and one player that can cure both of those at the same time is your pass rusher off the edge in Micah Parsons. So I think when you have great players, they get paid a lot, but great players also make the rest better.
How do you feel like this contract dispute has gone since the trade request? Of course, earlier in training camp, Micah Parsons putting on X and on his Twitter, his social accounts, that he wants to be traded from Dallas. How has that started or maybe negated that initial conversation from before?
Yeah, I see the smirk here, Mickey, but fortunately, it hasn't changed a lot of what we've seen. We've still seen him out there at practice some, and he's been in some of the walkthroughs as well, and he's wearing the jersey, and I think it's part of the process. He's not the only one that's done it. Now, he went pretty descriptive in his request, but I still think money cures all, and I think that Jerry's not really blinking on this. It doesn't seem that way. I still think something's going to happen.
I've seen this so many times. So when someone asks for a trade, it's like, okay, that's what you're supposed to do, right? But sometimes it's not all about just the total money package. You got to have the right years to be able to prorate the signing bonus, and that helps the club. So I'm sure the Cowboys are going, okay, here's what I can give you for a signing bonus, but it better be 4 or 5 year deal.
Right.
And there's still plenty more conversations to be had from this point until that contract is signed. And one of the guys in those conversations is Jerry Jones. And like we said, we'll have him later in the show. When we come back, though, you mentioned cornerback. That's a big conversation piece going into the preseason. It is a thin position. Who will stand out? We'll be joined by Patrick Walker next. This segment is brought to you by Ashley Home Store, the official furniture store of the Dallas Cowboys. Welcome back to SoFi Stadium, Inglewood, California. They also call this plot of land Hollywood Park, as the Cowboys and the Rams get set for preseason Week 1 action. Kickoff slated for 4 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Central Time. You've got Jerry Jones. You've got Dak Prescott having a conversation. Those two guys know each other quite well. We know this guy pretty well, too. This is Patrick No C. Walker of DallasCowboys.com. And, Patrick, I got to start with the cornerback position. The corners have been a big topic of conversation throughout training camp so far because the lack of those corners. Savone Revel out. Trayvon Diggs out. You've had Kalen Carson go down with injury as well. What is your thought of the corners that you've seen so far?
Well, right now you have to love, Kyle, how Kaiir Elam has come in post-trade, and he's really made waves through OTAs, minicamp, and now through training camp out here in Oxnard. I'm looking forward to seeing what he can possibly do maybe at some point in the preseason. Doubtful that he gets out there today, but that puts more onus on some of these younger guys. What can a Troy Pride do for you in this preseason opener? What can Keemon Hall do? He's pick 6 from last preseason. Can he build upon that and make some waves for this young quarterback group?
And let's hear from Kaiir Elam, because he has the right conversations and the right mindset when it comes to making an impact in this Cowboys cornerback room.
Just be a consistent dog. Somebody who my teammates can say and my coaches can say, like, this kid got an opportunity, and just continue to take it and run with it. Somebody they can rely on to just go out there and make plays and really just lay it out on the line for the team. I say that I hang my hat with that. Obviously, I'm gonna aim for the stars and want to be top notch of the top notch. But just a guy that's gonna come to work every day and just be a consistent dog. That's it for me.
And for somebody trying to restart his career in Dallas, Mickey, that's the right way to attack a new setting going into his 4th year in the league.
Yeah, we got to admit, we haven't seen him play with Buffalo that much and what happened there, but he seems to have a fresh start here, and he's engaged, and he's covering, too, and I think you've seen that, Patrick.
Absolutely, and in covering, he's also taking the ball away. Brian Schottenheimer said that he believes Matt Eberflus's defense can be one of the league leaders in takeaways. Let's see if that comes to fruition. Kaiir Elam is definitely helping lead that charge. But from Kaiir Elam, again, you have the young guys who are going to be asked to step up. What are these young guys like Keemon Hall, Troy Pride, Zion Childress? He's starting to get a lot of praise from Schottenheimer and Matt Eberflus as well.
See, and one of the dilemmas the Cowboys have right now without Trayvon Diggs on the field, you got Deron Bland, probably Elam, and then what? Because you got to find somebody to take Jordan Lewis's place in the slot. Now, Bland can do that.
Yes.
He's done it before. He's worked there. But then if he's there, then who's on the outside, right? So that's kind of the dilemma they've got to solve here. And what are we, 3 weeks away?
Yeah, it's not a fun problem to have because I think a lot of people might have underestimated what Jordan Lewis meant to this team, not only as a leader in the locker room, but specifically as one of arguably the best nickel corner in the league. How do you solve that? Yes, you could have the versatility of DaRon Bland there, but guess what? DaRon Bland is an all-pro where on the outside. So you lose some of that ability there. Kaiir Elam gives you outside preference, but what do you do at nickel? Maybe Israel Mukuamu, maybe a guy like Troy Pride, maybe Kalen Carson when he gets to come back from his latest injury. But we talk about young guys who need to prove themselves. Season-ending shoulder injury last season, training camp dealing with another one. He needs to hit the ground running when he gets back to the field.
You know, Kyle, this sort of reminds me of what Tampa Bay did years ago with Rondé Barber. He started in base defense on the outside, and then when they went nickel, he went inside, but you got to have somebody else go there. So Bland could really do both if that's what they're looking for, but they need these young guys like tonight to step up and show, okay, I can handle the right cornerback spot, or no, I can play in the slot.
Yeah.
That's what these games are, and that's why they're so important. And to me, unfortunately, and I know it's not the popular opinion, is you only have 3 of these preseason games. When you're in these situations, you'd like 5, right?
You would, but like you said, you only have 3, and the math is the math. So these guys are going to have to take advantage of every single rep because, like you said, Kyle and Mickey, the fact is Trayvon Diggs, he's working his way back from PUP. Savon Revel working his way back from NFI. Josh Butler, we don't know when he'll be available from the torn ACL. There's a lot that's being put on this young group early.
And with that being said, there's a lot of rotation there between those guys, too. It may not just be one series and done, and then you're continuing to the next guy. It may be a bounce-around sort of scenario when it comes to the cornerback position. When we come back, what newcomer at linebacker will make the biggest impact for the Cowboys in 2025? This segment was brought to you by Ashley Home Store, the official furniture store of the Dallas Cowboys. This segment is brought to you by Reliant, official energy provider of the Dallas Cowboys, bringing you the power this offseason. And the Cowboys have made some powerful moves in the front office. There's Dak Prescott. He's hoping for a powerful 2025. So we welcome you back to SoFi Stadium in Inglewood, California. Here's the fun part about the preseason. I love surprises in the preseason, and this is a nice surprise. We get one of the Cowboys front office members, Cowboys COO Stephen Jones, joining us now. And Stephen, first off, great to catch up with you. We weren't planning on having you.
Great
this is
to
awesome.
be on. I'm a fill-in. I don't know if I'll be near as good as the owner, but we'll give it a try, won't we?
Hey, you absolutely are always welcome, and he's having a great conversation with Rams ownership now. I want to start things off by talking about the contract situations at hand and kind of what's happened throughout the offseason. Is anything moving in one direction or the other when it comes to those situations?
Well, it's always tough to speculate on what's going on because until they're done, they're not done. And, and it really doesn't do a lot of good to speculate. Obviously, we've got a lot of irons in the fire that we're working on, but we'll see.
And certainly those are things that are going to happen over the course of time. How important is it to see him out here, Micah specifically, in uniform and being here at SoFi?
Yeah, I mean, it's he's under contract and fully expected to be here, and it's great that he is here. But yeah, it's what's expected, and he's under contract for us, and we'll keep going.
And I think, Stephen, people need to know earlier in the week you were asked about Micah demanding a trade or whatever, and you said we're not trading Micah Parsons. Yeah. You're still there, I assume.
That's the nature of a negotiation.
Right.
If you look at any negotiation going around the league right now, or they're in similar situations as the Cowboys are with Micah, I think they've all requested for a trade. So that's just part of it. No, we have no intention of trading Micah, and we'll just continue to grind.
So what are you looking for from this team in the first preseason game? I know you saw the scrimmage. It's against the same team. What are you hoping that your team improves on?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing of all is just getting out there and seeing these young guys compete. As we all know, we're not going to see a lot of the older, established veteran guys. And, it's just great to see a lot of these young guys come in here. And now they're going to be competing all the way to the ground now. It's real football. It's not post up, lock up, and do those type of things. So it will be interesting to see, the running backs and the linebackers and see how they do. I think the corner position is going to be one that I'm really curious about, only because we have, the injuries that are on either PUP or NFL right now between Diggs and Revel and certainly Butler. So I think it's going to be great to see how some of these guys do out here. And, there's been some guys showing up. Childress from Kentucky's doing some good things at the nickel spot. Rochelle's been doing a good job, and I don't want to just single those two out, but it'll be interesting to see, because we are going to, need some guys to step up there while Diggs and the rest of them continue to get well.
I love the list that you gave there, because it carries over from a great camp so far for a lot of those guys. I know you're excited to see one name in particular today, and that's Brian Schottenheimer in his first game as head coach. How excited are you to see him take over and really run the show for the first time?
Oh, we were just in his office, and Jerry, I think, teared up, just talking about, sitting there looking across the table at him, and, this being his first NFL head time to be the head coach. And, he's so comfortable and so much energy, and it'll be great to see him out there and see him cut and shoot. You can tell the energy level's high, and as we all know from watching him around camp and watching him in mini camps and the postseason and the draft, that's what he's all about. He's authentic, and look forward to seeing him.
He compared it to butterflies. He said there were a little bit of butterflies there. He didn't want to overplay it. What would you say it is from a front office standpoint? What would you equate it to watching a head coach for the first time?
Well, I think he equated it best. It's going to be like watching Joe Milton out here. And he's going to take those first couple of snaps, and he said he might even run him a little bit, because he said the best thing that can happen is get that first hit out of the way. And we had some guys who were with Josh Allen in Buffalo, and that's what he used to like to do, get one good run in, maybe take a little hit, and then all the butterflies go away. So I'm sure as soon as he gets that first play called and little excitement hits, it'll be old school for him.
Stephen, I don't know about you. For me, I know everybody's talking about Brian being the head coach. I'm excited about seeing him also being basically the offensive coordinator and play caller. Now, he hasn't done that for several years now, but he's going to get a chance here. And I was just wondering what your thoughts are, him being the play caller versus maybe some of the other coaches, head coaches you've had.
I'm fired up to see it too, Mickey. I think you're going to see something. A lot of head coaches around the league, everybody wants to talk the talk, which is let's run the football and let's stop the run. I think you're going to see that Schotty's committed to running the football, especially once we get into the season. Now, this is preseason, and I don't expect to see much, because I don't think people really have a feel for what these Dallas Cowboys offensively are going to be like. And so it's going to be interesting. As I said, I don't think you'll see a lot today in terms of what you'll be seeing in the regular season, but there's a lot of fun matchups to watch out there. The one I did miss was Joe Milton. I am looking forward to seeing him get reps out here and see how he does.
And as Brian said earlier in the week, I'm just pulling out the 7-iron, right? I'm not showing anything, and let these other teams know what we might be doing.
And what we are going to see tonight, we are excited to see. Stephen, thanks so much for stepping in and getting a chance to talk with us here on Countdown to Kickoff. It won't be the last time, I can promise you.
Great being on, guys.
Absolutely. Cowboys-Rams, when we come back, we've got more as Joe Milton gets ready for his first start in 623 days.
Good week.
This segment is brought to you by Dr. Pepper. Raise your Dr. Pepper glass to America's team. It's a Pepper thing. Closing in on 30 minutes till kickoff between the Dallas Cowboys and the Los Angeles Rams. This is Countdown to Kickoff alongside Mickey Spagnola. I'm Kyle Yeomans. So glad you're with us to start the preseason in Inglewood, California. We teased Tommy Yarich earlier on the show. Tommy got booted as soon as Stephen Jones sat down.
Hey, I know my place, man. I know my place.
It's your first preseason game. It's his 500th preseason game. That's part of it. It's all a big part of the roles here. But, Tommy, I will say it's not your first go-round, though, when it comes to watching this Dallas Cowboys team and the linebacker position specifically. This is a almost entirely new group, especially the starters at linebacker. What have you seen throughout camp in Oxnard?
Yeah, with Kenneth Murray missing some time, he had the birth of his child. That's really opened the door for a lot of other guys and some young guys to step into some roles. And, most notably, I think, is the 5th-round pick out of Florida, Shamar James. We've seen him take some reps with the ones, and linebackers coach Dave Borgonzi was telling us earlier this week that it's because they're trying to get as many guys, as many reps as possible next to one another. They're trying to mix it up so guys can get used to playing next to one another. And when it comes to Shamar James, you think about this staff. Matt Eberflus is a former linebackers coach with the Cowboys. And here's what Dave Borgonzi had to say about their 5th-round pick and why he fits exactly what they're looking for.
Yeah, it's a lot of the same stuff we saw on his college tape. We talk about linebackers. We talk about quickness, instincts, and strike. Shamar's quick. He's got really good instincts, and he likes to hit. And those are the 3 qualities we look for. And honestly, him taking first-team reps, but we've done, I think, a really nice job as a staff, just kind of rotating guys in different spots. Because at the end of the day, you want to simulate it like it's going to be in season. And then during the season, things are going to come up. Guys are going to have to play at different spots with different playing with different guys. He's not always just going to be playing with Damone or Jack. He could be with K9. So really, we're just trying to rotate guys so they can get comfortable playing with other people.
Yeah, so instincts is the biggest thing with Shamar James in the next step, right? He's got the speed. He's got the power. He can hit. Next, it's up to reading the offense and right where he needs to shoot the gaps in the run game. And he's shown some of that early on in the preseason. Now it's just all about continuing to put all the pieces of the puzzle together. And slowly but surely, it seems like he is starting to do that, and he's getting used to playing alongside a different group of guys. This guy has a bright future in front of him, and he's got a coach in front of him, too, and Matt Eberflus and Dave Borgonzi that kind of have the golden touch, if you will, when it comes to developing these guys.
So this linebacker core is relatively new. There's not a lot of guys on that linebacker core that played last year. Your thoughts on some of those other guys that you've seen that have to come out? You may not see them tonight. Sanborn and Kenneth Murray.
Yeah, you won't see those two tonight, Mickey, but those are probably your 2 starters here. Kenneth Murray, a guy who was a 1st-round pick. You love his tape out of Oklahoma, and he's led 2 teams in tackles already in his NFL career. Can he do that here in Dallas? He says he wants to play in the middle, but Jack Sanborn might be the guy that plays in the middle just because of his familiarity with Matt Eberflus and the scheme. He spent 3 years with Eberflus in Chicago and was an undrafted free agent, but ends up running this defense. But don't forget, I should say as well, some other guys like Damone Clark, who has been here, Maris Leofau, who has been here. 2 younger guys who have shown what they can do in the past. Leofau heading into year 2. Damone Clark coming off an off year. Now he's in a new scheme, and a scheme that seems to be fitting him better. He's shown a little bit at camp, and Maris Leofau is a guy that this coaching staff has had a lot of praise for. So a new linebacker group as a whole, right? But there are still some familiar faces that you're wanting to see the next steps from, and that's why you bring in Matt Eberflus and Dave Borgonzi to help them do that.
I think Damone Clark was kind of the forgotten man last year.
Yeah.
The year before, 2023, he led this team in tackles.
Yes, he did.
I just don't see how he didn't fit in last year, somehow, some way. But he's gotten some first-team reps, too. And he has been balling out there, and it looks like the old Damone Clark. Your impressions of exactly what he's done so far?
Well, you make a really good point, Mickey. I don't think Mike Zimmer's scheme was necessarily the best for Damone Clark, and now he's in a scheme that is much more linebacker friendly. You think about Eric Kendricks, who was here last year. That's Mike Zimmer's guy. Now Damone Clark kind of gets a fresh start, and you mentioned the production that he had, and you see already in camp shooting the gaps, being able to fill the run lanes, right? That's what Matt Eberflus's linebackers do at their best. They stop the run, and they play physical at the point of attack, and you're going to see that from Damone Clark in this scheme, which I don't think he was able to do as much last season.
My favorite part of this pregame show now is Mickey Spagnola saying balling out in a legitimate analysis about a guy that's playing defense at the moment. Tell me a little bit about Matt Eberflus and why he is the right man for the job when it comes to a new-look linebacker room.
Oh, well, you just take a look at his track record, right? You think about Sean Lee when Matt Eberflus is the linebackers coach in Dallas, Leighton Vander Esch in his last stop in Chicago, Tremaine Edmonds and TJ Edwards. All these guys that play at such a high level for his defenses and are such integral parts of their success. And now you just know that it's going to be the same thing here in Dallas with this young group of talented players that he's got on his repertoire.
And he continues to show just why bringing him back was the right thing to do when it comes to this Cowboys defense as his first season in Dallas as the defensive coordinator. Tommy Arish, thanks so much. You can check out his work on DallasCowboys.com. This segment was brought to you by Dr. Pepper. Raise your Dr. Pepper glass to America's team. It's a Pepper thing. More to come from SoFi Stadium. This segment is brought to you by your Texas Ford dealers. Ford is the best in Texas. The West Coast Cowboys continue their charge toward the 2025 season. The first of 3 preseason matchups, and their only road preseason game of 25 is incoming against the Los Angeles Rams. We've got Nicole Hutchison sitting down with us. She is the team reporter for the Dallas Cowboys. Nicole, I know one position in particular that you've been keeping your eye on throughout training camp has been the running back spot, and so are many, many Cowboys fans out there. They're excited to see today. Give us some level of clarification when it comes to the running back position.
Absolutely. Well, for starters, it has been probably the most competitive rooms throughout camp so far. But, I had a chance to speak to VP of Player Personnel, Will McClay, and he told me this is how the running back rotation is going to go. It's going to be Deuce Vaughn starting. Phil Maffa will get majority of the reps, and then Malik Davis, who they just brought back, who spent some time with the Dallas Cowboys for the last, 2-3 seasons, and played 15 games for them. So it's going to be a lot of fun to watch those guys. But Phil Maffa, the 7th-round rookie, he's expected to, like I said, get a lot of the reps. But he's a guy who, wasn't a headline coming into camp. He started to be a topic of conversation as the weeks go on, and he's looking to take full advantage. Some players catch your eye right away. Others earn it day by day. Phil Maffa's been the latter, quietly stacking good days at camp until his play made you take notice.
Just being able to come out here and compete every day, it's what I dreamed of since a little kid. So, it's a surreal moment, and I'm trying to take advantage of each and every day.
So that you can't cross-face and get to the quarterback easier.
Phil, coach Schottenheimer, man, congrats.
As a 7th-round pick in this year's draft, Maffa didn't get much run this spring. A loaded backfield kept his reps light during OTAs, but every carry in camp has made him a topic of conversation.
Again, the guy I probably haven't talked about enough that shows up every day now is Phil Maffa. Phil is a guy that, when he moves, it's very smooth, very fluid. His vision is excellent. Shows up every day with some really, really positive plays that get you excited.
Okay, I like that fight.
And he's done some things and popped off on the tape at practice and has some really good runs. He's a very smart and intelligent young man.
He's a big-bodied back with power, can break off huge gains if he makes it to the 2nd level. It's how he was able to rush for over 2,000 yards as a Clemson Tiger, and traits he looks to consistently show in Dallas.
I would say the kind of role that, whenever someone mentions the name Phil Maffa, they know that he's a guy who's going to be accountable, a guy who's going to do whatever it takes for the team to win, and someone who's going to lay it on the line for his teammates.
Under the radar all camp, but he's turned it into his runway.
It's what I've been preparing for, my whole life, and especially at this point, I'm just making sure I'm taking those mental reps even when I'm not in, and just being able to take advantage of the opportunity.
Smooth, smart, built for the moment. Maffa's earned his shot 1 rep at a time, and this weekend, he's got the stage to turn late camp buzz into game day proof.
I'm just looking to prove that, I can be that guy. And I just want to prove that, my opportunity, I'm going to take the most advantage of it. And I just want to prove to people that I can do it.
Guys, I got a chance to catch up with Phil Maffa in pregame warmups. He told me he's feeling good, he's feeling confident. But, earlier this week he did mention to me as well is that, those mental reps were important to him in the spring, whether it was film study, whether it was watching from the sideline and kind of seeing, what guys were doing right, what guys were doing wrong. But it's all about that next man up mentality Derek Foster was talking about, that he's been preaching to his running back room about all offseason and up to the training camp. So this is going to be a lot of fun to watch, a lot of unknown in that running back room, so I'm excited.
You know, when we analyze these guys, we try to be as objective as you can. Sometimes you run into a guy that you want to pull for.
Yeah.
And Phil Maffa had to battle last year at Clemson with a torn labrum. He played through it.
Yeah.
Didn't complain, didn't make excuses. And one of the reasons why he probably dropped to the 7th round. Again, he better have had his Wheaties today because they're going to wear him out.
Well, I sure hope he did have his Wheaties, right, Mickey? I mean, this is someone who had a torn labrum in his shoulder, but he says he's finally feeling free. He feels healthy, so every rep is going to matter for him, and hopefully he takes advantage.
Yeah, and that's one thing that, hey, Wheaties are orange. Where did he go to school? He went to Clemson. Clemson Orange. He's been used to it all over.
Yeah, okay.
Special thanks to Nicole Hutchison. Check out her stuff on DallasCowboys.com. When we come back here to SoFi Stadium, we are still getting closer to Rams and Cowboys. More to come from the West Coast. Download the Cowboys Now app for all things Dallas Cowboys. Catch all of our podcasts, programs, press conferences, and even our Deep Blue docu-series. Plenty of content leading you into the 2025 Dallas Cowboys NFL season. Welcome back to Inglewood, California and SoFi Stadium. He's Mickey Spagnola. I'm Kyle Yeomans, wrapping up the field version of Countdown to Kickoff. We'll hear from Bill Jones and Isaiah Stanback very shortly. But I want to get your thoughts, Mickey. We've heard from a plentiful amount of guests so far. Tell me what position battle you're looking to see on the field tonight.
I don't know if it's a position battle or it's a battle to prove you can do the job. I want to see Joe Milton out here. He hasn't played much in the NFL, very limited times in college. He's going to get a chance tonight, and he's got to prove that he's capable of being the backup quarterback without the experience that normal backup quarterbacks have. Normally, your backup quarterback's a veteran. He can rely on his mental experience to get through, because once, Kyle, they get into the season, the backup quarterback doesn't get many snaps. So, again, he's got to get out here, get the ball out of his hands. Don't just rely on his legs to get out of trouble. Get it to your outlet receivers if everybody's covered. But he's got to be able to manage the pocket and the huddle.
Yeah, and I'm going to stick with the passing game. I want to see these wide receivers. I can't believe we've gone through 50 minutes of a pregame show and have not talked about the wide receiver position quite yet, especially with the star power that they've added in the offseason. You won't see CeeDee Lamb tonight. You will not see George Pickens tonight, but some guys that you will see. How about Jalen Tolbert, Jonathan Mingo, Jalen Cropper, all three battling for that wide receiver 3 spot. You probably won't see Kevontae Turpin out there, but there's an opportunity with Joe Milton playing quarterback for those guys to get involved across the board as well.
And one other thing, kind of my final thought is, I don't know if everybody remembers this, but last year the Cowboys finished 3rd in the NFL in sacks. They had 52. Well, I went back and looked, and nearly 40 of those snaps have walked out the building, or they're not practicing, or they're in a contract debate, right? So there are going to be some young defensive ends that are going to get a chance to show what they can do. Donovan Ozuraku, I want to see 41 out there getting to the quarterback.
Hey, he was a second-round pick for a reason. This Cowboys team very high on what he could bring to the table. What about the cornerback position? No Deron Bland. We'll see if Kaiir Elam gets a shot at playing tonight. I doubt he's out there. This is a young group that's going to vie for some playing time.
Zion Childress and Keeman Hall. Can they play in the slot to keep Deron Bland outside? Because if you got to move Bland inside, somebody's got to play outside, right?
And Kaiir Elam only played 6 snaps in the slot last year during his time with Buffalo. That wraps it up for us on the field. When we come back, we're going to go to the booth. Bill Jones, Isaiah Stanback will have the call for preseason game number 1. It's the Dallas Cowboys and the Los Angeles Rams. Next.
Countdown to kickoff continues here at SoFi Stadium as both teams in the locker room about to head back out for the start of this 2025 preseason. And up here in the broadcast booth, Bill Jones, joined by Isaiah Stanback. We'll be calling the game. And final few minutes here of Countdown to Kickoff. Let's talk about who's going to start at quarterback for the Cowboys in this game, as we will not see Dak Prescott in the game. He'll be on the sideline. Instead, a lot of people excited about Joe Milton, who was acquired, of course, back in April in a trade with the New England Patriots. And this is a great test for Joe Milton.
Yeah, it's going to be a great test for Joe Milton. And they say that everything is bigger in Texas, Bill. That includes the arms of some quarterbacks. Had the opportunity to meet up with Joe Milton this week at training camp. Take a look.
Being able to get through my progressions correctly, being able to see the clear picture of every route, whatever it may be coverage-wise, but just getting through the concepts and just making the right reads.
What has been Coach Schottenheimer's goal for you in particular in terms of working through this preseason and these games? What is he looking for in improvement out of yourself?
Something that I always preach to myself, treat practice like a game. That's always something that he preached to me. Is always have a time and clock, treat practice like a game, and he tried to stay on me on that.
You know, it's been interesting watching the dynamics of that Cowboys quarterback room with Dak Prescott, Joe Milton, of course, Will Grier, who we should see some of tonight as well. And Milton has been impressive in how he has fit in that room.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, you think about somebody who comes into a position that you know that you're coming into a backup spot. You know that this is your second year. You know, you had an illustrious college career. You went out to New England, didn't work out for you, and they got rid of you. Now you're in a situation where you can actually show that you're worthy of being a true backup. You're in a good position. You can learn. You can take your time. You can allow your game to develop. And it starts tonight with these guys in the preseason game.
You know, and Joe Milton did play in the last regular season game last year for New England against the Buffalo Bills, who were playing backups in that game, but he was impressive in that game.
Very much so. You're talking about 75% completion, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. He had one heck of a showing. We're now looking to see that carry over to here with the Dallas Cowboys.
All right, it's going to be very fun to watch how Joe Milton does tonight. You notice Isaiah has his vest on right now. Well, he's about to get suited up. He's about to put the jacket on. It's about time for some preseason football, wouldn't you say?
It's time to get serious. Let's get it happening.
All right, very good. And, it's been a lot of positive vibes at Cowboys camp in Oxnard. Let's see how it continues tonight as the Cowboys come on the field. Preseason game number 1 coming up next.